Undermine our allies, embolden our enemies, diminish our country. If anyone had any doubt that those 9 words sum up pretty well the Obama Doctrine, take a look at what the Team Obama accomplished in Honduras last week. The Assistant Secretary of State for Western Hemisphere Affairs, Tom Shannon, and the National Security Advisor's Senior Director for Western Hemisphere Affairs, Dan Restrepo, went down to Honduras midweek and brokered a deal. I think that's one way of putting it. Another is that they broke the knees of Honduras's Democrats, forcing them to accept an arrangement whereby ousted President Manuel Zelaya, a Chavista clone who was trying to do just as his patron and mentor Hugo Chavez had done in Venezuela, in Honduras, namely to overturn the constitutional limit of 1 term for the president and create conditions under which he could succeed himself and perhaps become, as Chavez has effectively, a president for life. The United States government has been on the wrong side of this under the Obama administration from the very beginning, back in June when this affair started with the effort of the Constitutional Court and Congress to remove Zelaya from power. Again, consistent with the Constitution, in fact, meeting its requirement to remove someone who was trying to overturn its requirements. The United States decided immediately that it was a coup that had been perpetrated. It started using every instrument of soft power, as it likes to call it, to force the Honduran interim government of Roberto Micheletti to restore Manuel Zelaya to power. They issued travel warnings, a blow to the tourism of the country. They cut off most of the aid to it. They interfered with fact-finding missions of Republican members of Congress. They tried through the so-called diplomacy of the Chilean leftist Jose Miguel Insulza to bring the pressure of the Organization of American States to bear as well. All of this came to naught. So the United States government, under the Obama administration, dropped the big one. They would not recognize the legitimacy of the election that's scheduled to be held in Honduras at the end of this month for the purpose of replacing the president, interim president at this point, Roberto Micheletti, with a permanent president for the next 4 years. What happened as a result of that threat was that all of the parties in Honduras felt constrained, as Shannon and Restrepo threw their weight around, to effect an accommodation. And according to that accommodation, we will now have the Supreme Court of Honduras and the Congress of Honduras act on whether Manuel Zelaya will be restored to power. Now, the problem is, you'd think that won't happen because those were the folks who removed him from power in the first place. Even if the United States is genuinely going to do as Tom Shannon said it would, which is to basically butt out now, having intervened, having broken the knees of these Honduran Democrats, he says now it's being resolved by the Hondurans. Well, even if that's true, it is certainly the case that we see the Chavez's and his cronies and like-minded operatives elsewhere in the hemisphere, including the Castros. They are going to be working to ensure that Zelaya comes back to power and that Honduran democracy is further undermined. So all of this is to say that the Obama administration, which has been claiming there's been a coup in Honduras for some time, may finally have gotten the coup that they wanted, or that they were alleging. It is unfortunately, however, a coup for the Obama doctrine, a coup that has savaged democracy, has aligned us even further with the enemies of freedom, not with its friends, and that may well, especially if Zelaya is restored to power, but even if he's not, diminished this country in a way that will, I'm afraid, only serve further enemies. This is not the finest moment for American power or diplomacy, though it may be a coup for the Obama doctrine.